Hello and good morning. Well, good afternoon now because it's going to be 12 in a couple of minutes now. I'm very honored and delighted to have a very, very special guest with us who I'm going to be in conversation with. He is the backbone of CII, Confederation of Indian Industries, FICCI. He's a columnist, actor, keynote speaker. He's a TV pundit. He is, you would see everywhere he is him. It's him, or everywhere. And many of us would be wondering what Suhel Seth actually does. Well, let me tell you what he actually does. He is a very fine human being. This I can vouch for sure. But let's start with the journey of Mr. Suhel Seth, and let's find out how he was as a child and what he wanted to do when he would grow up. Suhel, thank you very much for spending time. Cheers.
Thank you. It was a very normal childhood in Calcutta, civilized, born amidst a lot of happiness, a lot of joy, a lot of books. I was deeply interested, still am, in theater, elocution, debating. Uh, we had a very normal, very relaxed childhood. We were encouraged to do all the outdoor stuff. We were encouraged to go to libraries, to museums, and it was a very civilized childhood. And from there, I went to boarding school in Nainital, in St. Joseph's, came back, was in
Sam,
Calcutta College, yeah, to St. Joseph's,
Sam.
yes. And then I moved to Delhi. No, in between, I did a lot of things, advertising with Response, with Ogilvy, then joined ITC, went to Peregrine, which is a finance investment bank, then started my own agency in which Martin Sorrell made his first ever direct investment. Then finished that and started Counselage in 2006, and now advise chairman and chairpersons and CEOs across the world on branding and marketing. But that's my day job. I still have all the time in the world and will continue to read almost, not almost, one book a day. I make sure that I'm really plugged on in terms of what's happening technology wise, current affairs, blah, blah, blah. And it's a relaxed life.
Wow. You know what? St. Joseph's Nainital, Sam, as people popularly call it as, it was a school where I was supposed to go actually, but it was up till class 10th at that time. So that is why I went to earn the
Yes,
boarding in Uti, Lawrence School, Lovedale. Incidentally, my dad, Lieutenant General Zedu Shah, and his brothers,
I
all
know
three
they
of
were.
them are from the Sam.
I know, because when I started doing theater in SEM, Nasir was often the beacon, and I've known Nasir and for ages. Outstanding human being, great actor. I think he's one of our finest actors, if not the finest. And yeah, it's been, as I said, it's been a relaxed, interesting journey. I've had the fortune and the privilege of meeting some really bright people. One habit, I don't know how it was formed, was I would always hang out with people much, much, much older than I. So I built true friendships with people like Kushwant Singh, R.K. Lakshman, the cartoonist, Rusi Modi. Uh, these were great friendships. These were friendships born out of mutual love and respect. It wasn't that I was chamchafying them or sucking up to them or courtier. It was a very genuine relationship built on equality because then and now I always said it as it is without any filters. And I believe that at that time and at that stature or station in life, when people are right at the top, they want to listen to honesty. They don't want to be told what people think they will want to be told, if you know what I mean. And that was a very interesting quality I had then, and I still do, and it's good.
Let's talk about the rivalry between SEMS and Sherwood College because this is a very old rivalry, and I've heard people from SEM and Sherwood, they meet each other. They're like, "Oh, you're from Sherwood. I hate Sherwoodians." And they say that, and then they give each other a warm
You
hug.
know, I mean,
And they give each other a
when
warm hug
I was
after.
in school, we never hated Sherwood, or they just didn't matter. They were an
No.
irrelevant institution, and we didn't. I mean, someone the other day also asked me, "What are your views on Sherwood?" I said, "I have no views. I never went there. Why should I bitch out a place which has also produced great luminaries?
No, no.
Why should
I
I
mean,
say something?"
I meant on the lighter way. It was like a
Yeah,
like
but
on
lighter,
the yes.
so that's a bit of a trait in me. I never get involved in things that don't involve me. It's very important, like in cricket, which ball to leave away. It's important to know where to draw the line, because the problem is, and Mohammed, this is an issue with humanity. We like to get involved in everything. We don't realize that it's important for us to stay within certain borders of either civility or domain expertise. You don't have to get involved with everything. I mean, people always used to tell me, when I was working in Ogilvy and all that, why do you delegate? I said, well, I'm not supposed to do everything. The other day, the very famous hotel chain's CEO, group CEO, that poor guy was bloody running around arranging for the dinner. So I told him, I said, you're the CEO. Why the hell are you doing this? Bhai,
Very
agar
true.
aap nahi karna hai, then why hire people down the line? It is important to empower people. It is important to be non-interfering. It is very important to recognize that if you want to become a great organization, hire people better than you. If you hire people inferior to you, then you become a company of dwarfs. You hire people better than you become a company of giants. That's an important understanding. You must respect the person first before you respect his talent. Because then the problem is, if you don't have respect for that person, whatever talent or skills he or she may bring, you will not have any respect for. So these are simple, life's lessons one has learned over the years. I'm not saying that it's the ultimate life lesson, but it is what it is.
You're 100% right. Delegating responsibility, that's very, very important. Let's talk about your role with the CII and FICCI. So, could you explain us a bit about it?
I don't
What do
have
you
a
do
role
with them?
with FICCI now. With CII, I chair their branding and marketing committee, and I also, by virtue of that or whatever, sit on the CII National Council. To my mind, CII, which is a little known fact, people say CII is a business chamber, business lobby, blah, blah, blah. No. They have been involved for years in, to my mind, the making of modern India through a robust partnership between corporate India and government and civil society. They sit at the heart of this troika. It's very important for businesses to engage with the idea of India. A business cannot engage only for profit. A business must profit while not profiteering, but a business must give back without only taking. Which is why I often say that the gold standard has always been the House of Tata. They have remained a group that has been looked up to only because they believe in giving back. Whether it was the conversation between Jamshedji Nasarwanji Tata, the founder, and Swami Vivekanand, which led to the formation of the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore, or for that matter, NCPA, where I had the privilege of listening to Zubin Mehta conduct the Symphony of India Orchestra last week. These are national institutions. These national institutions wouldn't come alive if there was no partnership. So CII is the fulcrum of that partnership. And they've just finished doing a remarkable B20, which is the business arm of the G20. I mean, fantastic. It was led by N. Chandrasekaran, who's the chairman of Tata Sons. And Chandra, to my mind, delivered a first rate opening speech where he laid out the advantages of embracing technology, where he outlined that artificial intelligence can actually create more jobs. Bada hua hai ki bhai artificial intelligence will. Now, these were great thoughts, both to imbibe and absorb. They are also contextual at this point in time because everyone is worried about jobless growth, everyone is worried about employment. So I thought, and I continue to believe, that CII plays its role adroitly with great integrity and enormous insight. And that's what's important.
That's very, very true. That means, yeah, 2 days, you're talking about the 2 days back, they had this, I think day before yesterday, they had a
Day
big,
before, yesterday, and today. It ends today with the
and
Prime Minister's speech.
that's right, that's right. Well, at the NDTV conclave yesterday, and there they had, there also their members had gone there. In fact, they had
Yeah.
discussed this about the
Yeah.
good work that you are doing with CI. Talking about the conclave, 3 years back, we heard you doing fantastic moderation at other news channels conclave. and you were so good while moderating. So good. So tell me about your moderation skills. People were
No
there to
skills
watch you
yet.
actually.
I've always told young people, whenever I address school or college students, I always tell them that the one thing you must pick up is the art of public speaking. Today, you have the wherewithal. I can look at YouTube videos. We were self taught. We didn't have videos to look at. We didn't listen to Nehru's Tryst with Destiny that was made available. But we made the effort of, and I always say, Mohammed, at the back of it all, the back end is scholarship. The back end is books. B for back end, B for books. If you don't have that scholarship, you don't have that literary bent of mind, you will not be able to draw. See, the ability to speak is founded only on one principle, which I have outlined in my book. In order to be interesting, be interested. That's the heart of a conversation. If I'm not interested in what Mohammed does, or what Nasir does, or what anyone else does, I will never have a conversation with you which is meaningful. Which, by the way, is half of what India does. You go to a dinner, everyone is talking at cross purposes. They're interested in seeing the next best person who's walked in who they can latch on. The art of conversation is dying. That needs to be brought back. For that, the responsibility lies in three areas: parents, education, student. You must be willing to do it. ये नहीं कि आप सारा कुछ राम भरोसे कर दो, or you outsource everything. Can't be done. When the child is at home, parents must encourage great public speaking. The other problem is dissent is an important aspect of free thinking. People say that dissent is antithetical. No, dissent is at the heart of free speech. You may disagree. The point is disagree without being disagreeable. We have melted those borders between disagreeing and being disagreeable, which is where the problem is.
Right. Lastly, before we let you go, a very interesting subject. My favorite subject, in fact, is public speaking. In fact, immediately after this, I am going for another event on public speaking only. I have to give a talk by this friend of mine called Author Sherry. He is doing this. So I would like to know about, in military especially, you should have the capability of motivating, inspiring your troops, your men, be it anywhere. All the great leaders, the head of states who have been very, very successful, have been very, very good orators. So, how important do you attribute to being a great orator and a good leader, Suhel?
It's very critical. If I don't know what you think about your strategy or about the nation or about your policies, and if you are unable to articulate them, how do I know what you think? An idea is only as strong as its implementation. Ships sail in the
Right.
night, no one sees them. So, how do you become visible? How do you become relevant? How do you become rewarding? You only do that if you're able to communicate to people, if you're able to tell them your point of view, as I said, without being disagreeable. That ability has to have its foundations in scholarship, in learning, in knowledge. It cannot have its foundation just in education. Education is finite, knowledge is infinite. Now, unless I'm encouraged to do that by whoever is encouraging me, social, societal order, civil society, parents, teachers, whoever, if that encouragement is not available to me, then I have a problem. A, B, look around India. We are 1.4 billion people. How many orators do you think you can pick out? I've always thought about it, not more than five or six. Why? We don't have the art of précis thinking. We are unable to communicate properly. You ask an Indian anywhere, are you going to Bombay tomorrow? His reply will be, I've just come back from Coimbatore. They will never answer the question. We don't have the ability to be pointed in our approach. And this, I'm telling you, is true of corporate leaders, political leaders. They all ramble round and round the goddamn mulberry bush. No one knows how to make a pointed speech. No one even bothers to interrogate in within their mind who the audience is. You are as relatable as your audience relates to you. Otherwise, you could be talking to a bloody wall. So these are the things that I think are at the heart of great public speaking.
I just to correlate this with something without getting much into details. I overheard you 3 days back at the conclave when you were on the phone. No. What in my evening? Be specific. Tell the time. 5 baje.
But that's what I'm saying.
Whatever. Don't say sham
हमारे
ko.
देश
Sham ko,
में
so that comes to again. I mean,
हमारे देश में, as I said, specificity has been assassinated a long time ago. We are all about the generic and the general. You send people an invitation, says 8 p.m. They'll call you up. Bhai, 8 baje aana hai. If I put 8 p.m., obviously 8 baje aana hai. So there's a combination of our inability to sift the wheat from the chaff, our inability to be pointed, precise, and clear, and our inability to answer questions with an answer. The average Indian answers a question with a question. That's where we screw up. That's why I say we may have great public speakers, but we don't have great orators. The touch of Cicero is missing in India.
Very true, Suhel. Suhel, thank you so much for your time, and it was a pleasure being in conversation with you. And thank you very much for being so generous with your time.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate that. Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much. Take care.
Thanks.
Cheers. Bye. Bye.